So I want to take a look at some pretty interesting information that came out yesterday from Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel about Matt LaFleur and sort of what he's looking for in this new Packers defense, at least one of the aspects. And here it is from Tom Silverstein in his article yesterday said this: LaFleur wanted more energy on defense, one of the sources said, and he'll get that with Campanile and Ogabase. Rebrovich was one of the most animated of any of the coaches on defense, second maybe only to Barry. So Hafley will have 3 high-strung, spirited assistants to ramp up the energy on that side of the ball. And I'm not really familiar with the coaching styles of some of these other Packers defensive coaches that ended up leaving, a few guys that we've discussed the past couple of days. But my guess is that if Matt LaFleur wants more energy on defense, maybe he thinks that's one area last year where the Packers defense was lacking, whether that's in the coaching staff, potentially. And so there's no doubt that these guys who are coming in, at least one specifically in Anthony Campanile, are going to bring a different level of intensity. And if you came across the clip from Campanile, I think it was a few years ago in the Hard Knocks for the Dolphins, he first off shared a quote from Vince Lombardi, Packer legend, and this is what the quote was: "Imagine for a moment, if you can, a man running down the street with all of your worldly possessions, taking from you everyone that you have ever loved and everything that you hold dear. I guarantee you would find a way, by any means necessary, to stop that man. That very simply put is pursuit." And then he said this: play as bleeping hard as you can. Attack the bleeping ball like it's some guy running down the street with your mother, your father, I don't care, my kids, whatever. That would make me out of my bleeping mind. So just from those 2 quotes that he shared in that clip, you can sort of tell the intensity and the kind of mentality that Campanile is bringing. He is the new Packers linebackers coach. And so I'm all for it to bring in some coaches who have that level of excitement, enthusiasm. There's no doubt that, it translates to the players. And so I'm excited to see if this next season, this Packers defense comes out firing, more intense, more physical than we've ever seen before. That would be awesome. And here we have some more information from the Tom Silverstein article I also found fascinating. And this has to do more with the Packers switching to a 4-3 base defense. It already seemed like, based on Hafley's history, he had a lot of experience in a 4-3 defense, especially at Boston College when he was the head coach there for 4 different seasons. But Tom Silverstein has some sources that seem to say that the reason that LaFleur is bringing in and Hafley is bringing in these new coaches has to do with, sort of switching mainly to a 4-3 defense. And so here's from Tom Silverstein. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel said this: Hafley has moved outside linebackers coach Jason Rebrovich to the defensive line, where he will oversee the group's transition to a 4-man front. Campanile will coach the 3 linebackers who play in the base defense, as well as coordinate the run scheme. Campanile's hiring is another step in the coaching transition Hafley is making to install a 4-3 defense, another source said. So last year, Packers base defense, the past couple seasons with Joe Barry, has been the 3-4 defense with 3 defensive linemen and then 2 on the outside, guys like Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Lucas Van Ness. And now the Packers are switching to more of a 4-3 base defense. But the reality of the NFL is that it is a mainly, nickel defense league nowadays. And here's what Bill Huber said in his article I found interesting. The NFL's universal base defense is nickel. That's how all teams line up most of the time. In 2022, for instance, the Packers were in nickel 66% of the time compared to 29% for their base 3-4, according to Sports Info Solutions. So in 22 with Barry, 66% of the time in nickel, which means 4 linemen and then 2 linebackers and extra defensive back. And so it seems like it should be pretty simple for the Packers to switch to the 4-3. And LaFleur even shared earlier this season, per Bill Huber, that the Packers have some of the bigger outside linebackers in the league, and that when they do go nickel, and they have, the past couple seasons, those outside linebackers become defensive ends, like Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith, Lucas Van Ness. So all in all, it seems like the Packers are going to be able to transition to this 4-3 defense. Will be interesting to see sort of how the shift impacts this defense. We will probably see a lot more of Isaiah McDuffie, who did have some time spent with Jeff Hafley in college. We'll see if they keep Devondre Campbell. There is a way to save some cap space by moving on from him. But I think Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie, maybe Campbell, maybe another free agent, maybe a new draftee will be much more impactful with 3 Packers inside linebackers on the field as opposed to 2 in their base defense these past couple seasons. But that is all I have for this one. If you want more Packers content, Packers news, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.